I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, nice Cavalier, mate." No, hang on, stop you there. It's a Carlton.
Is this quite popular at car shows?
Not really, no.
Fair enough. This is a genuine barn find, sat for 15 years before being lovingly and painstakingly restored, mainly outside during the winter months. This is Steve's Vauxhall Carlton. Welcome back to Restaurant Revival. I'm your host, Will. Let's get into it. Steve, here we are. This episode's been in the works for at least 6 months, I'd say.
I think it's longer than that, yeah.
Possibly.
It's got to be
but
longer.
We made it, here we are. Thank you for giving me some of your time. Tell us what we're sat in front of.
So we're sat in front of a 1986 Vauxhall Carlton 2.2, 3-speed automatic gearbox. I've had it for 3 years. I think, yeah, it's coming up to 3 years, May I bought it. It goes back quite a way, if you want me to, you know, just fire away.
Please.
My grandad had a D-Reg Vauxhall Carlton in this colour. I think it was this colour. My granddad's was a GL model, so 2-litre carb. And I always cast my memory back to the holidays in Wales my nan and grandad used to take, especially for the summer holidays. And I always remember the Carlton being really big inside. And it was huge. And I used to sit in the front seat on a little plastic booster seat. My nan would sit in the back with the dog, Alfie. And my granddad drives. And I always remember heading down the A55, down the coast road into Talaka Beach. And for me, when I was, some years ago, I start to struggle with my memory. And I have, the last sort of 5-10 years, been really struggling with my memory. So I love keeping this as part of my memory. So I like to keep that memory alive by having one myself. Not to mention it's one of the nicest cars I've ever driven. I know not everybody likes Vauxhalls, but the Carlton, it's comfy. And I've had a lot of Vauxhalls. I've had Senators, I've had Astras, I've had loads of Cavaliers, and they all hurt me back. Every single one of them, apart from the Carlton. The Carlton is it's strange, it's like sort of mid of the range. But I've never complained of a bad back driving one of these. I've driven the later ones, I've driven earlier ones, and every single Carlton I've ever had, it's always been comfy to drive. And yeah, that's pretty much.
So it was quite a strong sort of memory from a childhood.
Yeah.
And then, did you always want one? Were you always looking for one, or did this just come up quite?
I think it just cropped up.
Yeah.
Before we had Arthur, me and my wife, hi Ruth, we went down to Llandudno, where my granddad used to take me to the toboggan. And I took the car down there because it was just reliving those memories, And I know memories are all in your head, but if you can relive them as well, I think it's just something extra special, And then obviously we've got little one now, so I'd like to, give him those memories as well. We can make our own memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. With being a four-door as well, I can put the kids' seat in the back and away we go.
So, talk us through this one, because this one wasn't loved for quite a while.
Yeah, so this one came up for sale on another car forum. The owner wasn't quite sure of its value, and I was honest with him. I says, they're not very valuable. They're a rare car, but there's no value in them. And he wanted to sell it. He wanted it to be moved on. So I bid him a small offer. When we negotiated on the offer, it came with a load of spare parts, and I ended up with it. And it wasn't a lot of money. It had spent, I think its last tax disc was 2008. And it had had a lot of money spent on it. I'd have never met the chap I bought it off. I bought it sight unseen. I'd seen pictures of it, but we all do that, don't we? Just buy something that's you've never seen before. So, yeah, I bought it. I bought it over the phone. I had a chap go down and collect it for me, and he pulled it out the barn for me. 4 flat tyres. All the tyres were blown up. The front tyres were brand new in 2008. Still got the knobbles on from being fitted. Still got half a tank of petrol in it. So someone had really looked after it, as we've seen by the service history.
Yeah.
And then it got dumped into a barn and left. The barn was quite dry, but not 100%. So it did take a lot, just general, replacing the fuel hoses, checking the brakes, draining the fuel tank, getting it all cleaned, full service kit, plugs, leads, dizzy cap and rotor arm, fresh battery. I don't think it actually came with a battery. I think I had to go out and buy one. But once I got it started and once I'd done a lot of work to it, it ran well. I moved it from next to the caravan and put it here on the driveway before we had the extension done. I had the front end up on axle stands, and the winter came. I had the wings off because the inner wings were rotten again. So I was repairing that as and when I could feel my fingers. Had the wings repaired by a friend of the family. It was cheaper for me to have the wings repaired and painted than it was to buy a pattern wing and have pattern wings and have them painted. So I took it for MOT and it passed. And I was actually genuinely losing oil pressure coming home. Thought this oil's been in there a long time. It's probably thinner than anything. So right, let's get it home, get the oil changed, and then that was it. It was pushed into service. I've been driving it ever since.
It's quite remarkable, really, for saying it was sat in a barn for 15 years.
Yeah.
You would imagine it would be in a lot worse state. And it's taken you quite a bit of work to get there, but for a lot of cars, that would have been it. Rust would have taken over, or there just would have been simply too many things wrong with it.
Yeah, it was looking at the pictures, I think it was quite a well-kept barn. I think the floor helped as well, because the floor looks all concrete. So yeah, it's done it a favour, if anything.
Yeah.
The barn, I should imagine, if it was kept outside for 15 years, then it probably wouldn't be. Yeah. Would have been scrapped a long time ago. Because once these are sitting, the rust sets in. Yeah. But these don't. It's just normal places for this. Back of the sills, wheel arches, inner wings, the front ear just under the bonnet. There you go. But other than that, the chassis legs are meant as solid as a rock. Whereas other Vauxhalls, chassis legs, they just fall to bits and fall off. So I was glad about that.
But yeah, you were saying off camera that this is one of the cheapest cars you've ever had running. So since you've rebuilt it, it's been pretty much problem-free, hasn't it? Pretty much
problem-free. Touch wood. It's never let me down. Running costs is... Obviously, I'm a mechanic by trade, so I do my own tinkering and mincing on the cars. Last year, I had to put a wheel bearing in it. It didn't fail on MOT. It was advised, and £9 off eBay for a wheel bearing, and I put the wheel bearing on, and that was it. This year, I've had the alternator brushes replaced, and that cost me £30. Other than servicing, I think I buy sort of filters in 2 or 3, so I've got enough to do the next service.
Yeah.
So the service is only probably cost me 20, 30 quid
That's
to
crazy,
do
isn't it?
an oil change, fuel filter, air filter.
And 39 quid in parts in 2 years.
Yeah, it's I can't really. It's a cheap car to run, and you wouldn't think it for being an old car.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't expect it to cost so little.
Yeah.
It does help being able to do your own stuff,
Of course.
but that's what I like about it. You know, I had a modern car once. It was great. It was a lovely car until it failed, and it needed an ABS sensor, and it cost me 400 quid. You know, it just keeps. It's the gift that keeps giving.
Well, I suppose that's the beauty of being old mechanical engineering is
Yeah,
no sensors, no electronics,
it's just pure.
it's just parts put together.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
pure automotive
Simplicity.
genius, really.
Yeah.
And there's no engine management light. There's no buzzers. There's no warning lights. There's absolutely nothing.
No automatic start-stop.
No automatic headlights and wipers.
No, none of that.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. It's basic. I know there are certain parts, the idle control system's controlled by a small, I want to say ECU. It's more like a control, just a normal basic control unit. That and the idle control valve are faulty, but when you put a 2p piece in the pipe with a 4mm hole in, it then becomes it idles sort of at the right place it needs to be. If I take that 2p out, it'll idle at 2000 RPM until it's cold.
Right.
Getting those parts hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
In fact, I haven't found any. So if anyone's got any, I'm all ears. But again, with the car being so rare, there aren't many people breaking them. You know, there's not many people hoarding parts for them like you would with other models. So it does make things a bit interesting to keep them on the road. But I just want to keep using it. Keep it in good condition. Keep it on the road. And obviously, with it being, so it was registered in November 86, which means April 27, it becomes tax and MOT exempt. So the cheap car that's cheap to run then becomes even cheaper.
Yeah, it's a testament to you that you've kept it on the road, and it's it's one of those cars that like I said to you, I've never seen one in the flesh. And
no, like I say, a lot of people think it's a Cavalier. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, nice Cavalier, mate." No, hang on, stop you there. It's a Carlton.
Well, I think we should have a quick look under the bonnet, and then we'll take it out for an evening drive.
Yeah, cool.
That's great.
Sounds good to me.
Whilst Steve is just putting some stuff away, it's a good reminder that if anyone watching this has a cool, interesting car, or knows of anyone with a cool car, please do get in touch. My email address is below. I'd love to hear from you. Today's episode is kindly sponsored by Glowsmith Automotive Candles. Since 2018, Glowsmith has been handcrafting candles inspired by car parts such as brake discs, pistons and tyre stacks. From their heritage workshop in Derby, they create candles inspired by the automotive world. And what I like best is that each product has a really cool story behind it. If you visit glowsmith.co.uk and use the code RESTOREVIVAL, you'll get 10% off your first order of automotive candles, or simply follow the link in the video description. Cheers!
No, I haven't been able to give it a good clean under here for some time, but you know, it's used at the end of the day.
Yep, definitely got oil.
Yep,
That's good.
it's definitely got an oil
Good.
leak.
It's a nice gentle reminder that there is oil.
Yep, when it stops leaking, then
I was going to say when it's dry, then there's a problem. So
yeah, a bit like a Land Rover when it's not leaking oil.
Exactly.
And obviously, I've got a battery removal tool there for if it needs to be disconnected for any reason.
Yeah, very good.
And it doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
It stays absolutely there.
That's good.
And that was found under the bumper. That was top of the bumper, somewhere down there when I pulled the front bumper off.
Brilliant.
Yeah. 8.5-inch extension. So if you're missing it, then get in touch somewhere.
There you are.
Yeah, like I say, the inner wings, they're not pretty, but there is some thick steel gone into that. Yeah, I made sure I put the thickest steel possible in.
Yeah.
Just to give it that extra life.
Yeah, it's just reassuringly simple under here, isn't it?
I had to replace that. That fell to bits.
Yeah.
That's one of the bits. And that and the water pump. Changed the water pump, changed the thermostat housing and the thermostat. Because obviously all that was just corroded to bits. I don't think I did anything else really under here, other than a tune-up kit. The fuel pump relay died. That had to be repaired because you can't get them anymore.
No.
So the fuel pump relay was taken off. It was taken to an electrical shop.
Right.
And I said, fix that. And he did.
There you go.
Dry solder joints. I didn't even know what a dry solder joint was until he said, yeah, you can't tell by looking at it, but when they get warm, they start opening up.
There you are. Brilliant. Well, it's a bit of a non-event, but at the same time, it's charming. I like it.
Yeah.
It just does the job, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. What more? We don't need anything any more to a car, really. You'd
probably worry with a 3-speed as well if it was any more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, you've got power steering.
Yeah.
You've got stuff to charge, screen wash for cleaning your windows, see where you're going.
What else do you need?
You don't need anything else.
No.
So long as you can get from A to B and have fun.
Yes.
You know.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Perfect. Well, I think we should go out and have some fun in it.
Why the hell not?
Is this quite popular at car shows?
Not really, no.
Fair enough.
So, don't get me wrong, you'll get some people who, wow, my dad had one of them.
Yeah.
Or, hey up mate, is that a Cavalier? It's like, no, it's a Carlton. Oh, yeah, okay.
Conversation over.
Pretty much, yeah. So I took it to Vauxhall, show down at Gaydon a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't with the car very long because I went down with the Manta Club. And yeah, there were people looking around it, people admiring it. But yeah, you don't get a lot of people sort of crowding around it. But again, with it being such a rare car, and everybody they look at it, oh yeah, it's nice that is, and then they're on to the next, Astra GTE or something like that. It is more of your grandad spec kind of car.
It is, but there is something quite nice about that.
But for me, it's
a memory.
Quiet. It's smooth.
Oh yeah.
For a car that was built in the mid-80s to actually still drive this quiet and does not rattle in, it's not
I was
banging.
going to say, it drives like most modern cars. It's, very smooth, very quiet, comfortable, even by modern pothole standards. It's just easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Easy to live with.
A lot of people used to get put off by the automatic gearbox as well, but since owning one, I've not really had a problem with it.
With a car like this, I don't think a manual makes that much.
No.
It's not the car that you desperately need a manual for. This is just seamless. Really,
wafty.
it's very wafty.
But yeah, I love driving it. I feel at home.
Yeah.
It
obviously means a lot to you sentimentally, and it reminds you of your childhood. But it's just a nice place to sit. You feel relaxed driving it, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very tranquil. Just sitting here.
For a car built in 1986.
I know. You can barely hear the engine. You can't hear or feel the gear changes.
No.
It's remarkably.
To me, it's almost like it's only a couple of years old.
Yeah. I've definitely driven worse modern cars, without a doubt. Well, thank you for today and showing me around. It's
You're welcome.
a charming little car. Yeah, so thank you. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please give it a like. And if you want to see more episodes like it, subscribe and see you next time.